Hello there and welcome to Expeditions Viking. This is the new series that I am going to actually relaunch because I had once started this series, but I quickly realized that this is not the type of game that I would enjoy watching someone fumble around with. I prefer watching walkthroughs, meaning watching someone who knows their way around, watching someone who knows the hidden quests, who knows the goals that you are trying to reach, and who knows how to build their characters, and so on and so forth. This is why I've very quickly decided to not play this game on YouTube anymore. Instead, I had focused a lot more on playing survival games where every moment in the game is so different, you can't really make a walkthrough for it. And the basis or the concept of just playing it without a plan kind of works a bit better there. But recently I have talked with a few of the people who are actually watching my videos, and they've said they wish there was something different from just food fantasy. And I've listened to them, and I've decided that I was either gonna play something like Portal or something like that, where I can just relax, have a laugh or something like that, or something a bit more story driven where I can really take my time, talk about it, make it like a daily thing where you can go back and watch it daily. You can come back here every day. There's gonna be a new episode and we're just gonna play and enjoy ourselves. I'm gonna try to keep the videos at around an hour or so, but I'm probably going to focus a lot more on cutting the recordings and the episodes at good moments in the game, you know, when there's some suspense going on and you really want to know what's gonna happen next, so I can always look forward to playing it the next day so I don't get bored of it, and also that you as a viewer can do the same. That said though, I already have around 32 hours into the game. I have started it twice. The last time I've started, I've actually discovered a few things I was doing wrong that I could be doing better. And I'll be using this knowledge in this playthrough to probably help myself overcome a few of the issues I personally have with people just simply blindly playing a game. Now, this is not gonna be a complete walkthrough, it's not gonna be a completionist, all achievements unlocked kind of series or something like this. This is me playing the game as I want to play it. I might make some mistakes, you might disagree with me. You can freely discuss things about the game in the comments. If I realize that the comments are gonna spoiler something that's going to happen in the game or something that I should be doing in the game, I'm just gonna ignore them, but feel free to talk about it. I will probably end up boring you about 2 episodes into this because I'm not really gonna rush through this. I'm really gonna enjoy this game because it's one of the favorite types of games for me, and that is exploration and role-playing, squad building, and turn-based combat. I wanted to get back into this game because I was actually looking at Divinity Original Sin 2, and I had thought about buying that, but then I remembered Expeditions Vikings, and that I should probably give this game a little bit of deserved love before I go into the next game and completely forget about Expeditions Viking. So I have set myself the goal that once I've finished Expeditions Viking, I will get Divinity Original Sin, and we're gonna continue playing that game. So let's just go and make a new game here. We're going to go with insane difficulty. Other than that, we're not really going to make any changes. We're not going to go with Iron Man. We are going to simply play the game, and if we feel like we have to reload, we're just going to have to reload. But I am going to try to have to reload as little as possible by always sort of keeping myself one step ahead of the game. At least I will try, so you don't have to watch the same fights over and over. And if that happens to me, I might actually also... That may actually not be such a bad idea. If I die during Expeditions Vikings and I have to redo a fight, I will actually not bore you with all the repetitions, but instead I will record it until I manage to beat it, and then we're gonna go on from there. So if you see me fail once, the next episode is gonna be about me succeeding this fight, where I explain to you how I finally managed to win that fight. I think that's a good thing, other than me just failing horribly. So let's click OK here, and we're gonna pretty much get thrown right into the story here. Oh, actually, how could I forget? Of course, we first have to create our character. Now, this is something I have thought about ever since I've decided that I was gonna play this game again. Probably something like 3 days ago, and I absolutely cannot make up my mind about what I want to play. I do want to play a female. That I definitely want to do, and I am going to pick her again, and we are going to pick the name Fenris again, and we're just going to call her Isolda. Okay, other than that, we're just going to have to choose a build. I think medium is good for what I'm trying to do here. I also really do like the hairstyle, so we're going to keep that as well, even though it doesn't really fit with our image. I'm pretty sure there's mods for this game as well that kind of change these images here, so you have a few more to pick from. They're not really the prettiest, but it kind of fits with the style. So now let's see what we're gonna do with our clothing. I do like freckles, I do like the complexion, the eye color as well, and the hair color is actually pretty nice as well. Well, thinking I'm going more red to fit the image a bit better. We're not gonna have bare sleeves, instead we're gonna go with the layered here. That is the look I like the most. We're also going to go with the leather tunic. I like that look as well. And for the bottoms, I think the one I like the most were loosely wrapped. Yeah. The green is really not my kind of color, so we're definitely gonna go and choose these type of pants. I wish there was like more realistic colors, because usually you'd wear either linen or something sturdy. Maybe you have access to cotton, but in that time I would suggest no. Most of the fabric was probably linen or hemp or something like that, so it's very sturdy, very rough fabric. Vikings, as far as I know, did do some coloring of fabrics and so on, but I don't think that they really, you know, would have worn green pants like this. I'm pretty sure that the coloring techniques were mostly reserved for rugs or tunics, you know, festive tunics and something like that. If you're trying to go for something like a leather tunic, you would probably not have this. So I like to choose my colors just very standard like this. It's not very fancy, I know. Actually the red also really works, so I'm thinking I'm gonna go with this red, just so we have a splash of color in there. That really works. You can also go and build yourself a pink Power Ranger if you want, but it's really not my style, so we're just gonna go with this. My last playthrough I think I went with the white and red because I thought that also looked really nice, but this time around we're gonna go with black. And that's our character, at least looks wise. Now we have a more intricate and more expansive thing to do, and that is skills. Now I've also thought a lot about what build to go for. You of course have presets here. You go with a berserker, a warrior, defender, healer, archer, skald, huntress, rogue, or leader. I'm not gonna touch these though, I'm gonna build my own character. And my decision fell on actually using a Dane axe. That is what I decided to do. Pretty much because the game gives you a tank, it gives you an archer, it gives you a rogue, it also gives you a support type character, and it gives you a berserker as well. So you're already having characters that use swords, dual wielding axes, bows, spears, knives. All of the weapons are already pretty much covered by the standard characters you get early on in the game. The one that isn't really covered, the one that no one really uses, is the Dane axe. That is why I decided I would definitely go for that, and we're definitely looking to make a high strength character. And let's just go and lower this all down, and then see what we really want to do here. Now I'm not gonna keep these as low. We're just gonna look at a few of these skills, and some of these are gonna tell us we need perception 4 in order to use this. Dual wielding, we need finesse 4. We don't really care about that. Feint, move to the other side of the target and make the target spend its attack of opportunity, is kind of a nice move, although I'm not really feeling it with, you know, this character. Other than that, we can use everything. Okay, let's see about here. There's a lot of skills we can't use because we lack the requirements. Let's just see. Keen Eye is probably pretty good, but armor piercing is really good. That requires a perception of 6, I think. But let's look at the others first and see where we really want to spend these points. Night vision. I don't really think we need that. Point blank. Range attacks have 100% critical chance when the target is in melee range. Don't need that either. Powerful kick. That is definitely something I want. For that we need to have rebuke rank 1. Okay, that is in here. We have the required stats for that already. Quick feet is definitely something I want to have though. Move around an enemy without incurring attack of opportunity as long as you don't disengage. That is definitely important for a melee fighter, so we're definitely going to go with at least 4 finesse here. The sexist is actually a really good stat to get early on. It's one of the only stats that I get early on because it really, at least on insane difficulty, helps with the first fight since you're only facing males. So that really helps me out a lot, and yeah, I'm definitely doing that. Other than that, sharpshooter, we don't really care about that. Stone fists, unarmed, no. And walk your shots reduces the hit chance, distance penalty. Okay, so I feel like we have pretty much gotten all we want. I'm gonna go for perception 4 as well, so we can get cripple, because cripple actually isn't such a bad move to have. It's a ranged attack, and this is a one thing that I always do. I have all my fighters, whether they are ranged or not, usually have a bow equipped. Usually. It really depends. You're gonna see about that in future episodes though. So we're just gonna look at a few things here. Interrupt, you always get. Throwing is something that I also want to get, but I'm only gonna spend 1 point into it, so we can get throwing rank 1. Another thing that I'm going to get is the backstabber. That grants me 20% damage versus harried enemies. Harried basically means they're alert. So if you shoot an arrow at them and it misses, they're alerted. They're trying to see where that attack came from and so on. And you can trigger this with just one rock. You can just throw a rock at them, and it doesn't even cost any action points. As you can see here, it says free action, and you know, like with any other range attack, a miss will still apply the status effect harried. So I'm probably going to get almost all of my melee fighters, and where I can really use this, the rock throwing ability, so that I can harry my enemies and then use my melee fighters who are not tanks to really try and get that backstabbing damage. Now, it's not really a backstab, it just implies that you're stabbing the enemy while they're not paying attention. You actually, most of the time, you're standing in front of them in the game. We still have 26 more points to spend, and I'm thinking right now, I definitely like to have the ranging shot as well on most of my fighters, because it really helps my archers out. It also really helps since it's a free action. It just depends on what character. This character, I don't think I will carry a bow on. Instead, I will probably have her kind of be a hybrid and also wear a shield. And for that, we need 4 endurance. So we definitely want to be able to wear a shield. I don't know if we're gonna get any ranks into it, but I want to be able to carry shields at the very least. We're probably also gonna go and max out endurance, because it determines the hit points and base damage reduction block chance with shields, and it affects my stamina. So as it says, it's of utmost importance for frontliners, so we're just gonna spend all these 10 points, and as you can see, we've already spent all of our points. Now, sense is really something that I would have liked to keep a bit, and finesse and perception is also kind of important, but I'm really hoping that it's not gonna impact us too much. The last time around I played an archer, so I had really high perception, and that did help in dialogue choices as well, as you can read here, and will often reveal additional information during dialogue. That is because if you have a higher perception, you can notice things around you more easily. But it is also not really going to benefit us as a melee fighter as much, and I really want to go with a very heavy melee build here. So let us see now what we can do in terms of skills. I definitely like this skill, and if you aren't sure about what skills to get if you're first playing, you can always spend these points later on in the game. Something you cannot do though is your primary stats. You cannot change those. But the skill points, you're gonna carry them over if you don't spend all of them. But I think I will definitely get the kick. It's really one of the most important skills to have. Other than that, stun is also really nice to have. So we're gonna get that one as well, and I think the next upgrade we can do here, we need to spend 100 skill points, and since we only get 50 to begin with, we can't really get anything more here. Charge is also a really interesting skill. I was thinking of going charge instead of stun for the longest time, because it really deals a lot more damage early on. That is really important, but stun just gives you a bit more control. I'm just not sure which one of them is going to help me out more starting the game, but I think yeah, we're just going to go with charge here. As far as support skills, I don't think don't think I'm gonna really use much of this, since I'm not a healer. I'm also not a tank, so I'm probably not going to use much of this on this character. As for crafting skills or utility skills, you probably don't need to get any of these when you first start the game, since these only become important once you can camp, and that is quite a few skill points accumulated later in the game. We're gonna look at these though, and we're gonna see if there's anything that I really want. Of course, I do want the backstabber, so that's gonna be 4 points. Bloodthirsty, no, I don't want that. Dodge, no. Evade. These are all really nice, but I don't really need them. It's just once more look that we're not really missing out on anything that we really want to have. No. Okay, let's go from the bottom. Thick skin is probably really good for us. Strider, 1 more movement is also good. Sneak attacks. Yeah, that's also really nice to have, but not really that important early on. Relentless is actually something that I was thinking about using. I will pretty much have to pick one of these. Since we only have 7 points left though, I'm probably going to go and just keep my points, because quick feet is not gonna be that important early on. I feel like that is a skill that makes the quality of life during your fights a little easier, but you don't need to have it. If you know your way around, you can deal with the attacks of opportunity and you can make good use of them without losing the fight. Although there have been fights where I've wished that I would be able to walk around opponents without triggering them. We're probably going to not spend any of these points, and instead we're going to go and upgrade Powerful Kick or Relentless as soon as we get a few more points during the game. That said, we're done and we can click done. Yes, we are done.
Your father was a great warrior and a good husband, but he was not a strong chieftain to his clan. As he travels to join his brothers in the halls of Valhalla, you must take his place. Our clan is beset by petty squabbles. Some amongst our people would contest your claim to leadership, as they sought discord our neighbors' plot against us. Gather your most trusted clansmen. Together you will face dangers which none can predict. You will be challenged on your leadership, your resolve, your wisdom. Build a ship and take your housecarls across the sea. Power and strength for our clan must be sought outside the Norselands. If you show yourself to be bold, the gods will follow you into battle. Your legacy will live for 1,000 years beyond your time. Our clan must prevail.
Alright, that's the gist of the story. Thank you so much for watching. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. We're definitely gonna play a little more here. I'm not gonna let you down on on that cliffhanger. We haven't really done anything here at all. So we are definitely going to do a little more here. Alright, and we have now gained 500 valuables, a little bit of rations, medicine, wood, hides, thralls. Those things are gonna become important later on. For now, we have dialogue to go through. And I will not read all these out. I may read out a few of them, but I'm definitely not gonna read out all of them. It's the evening after your father's funeral. When you close your eyes, the image of his blazing ship shimmers in the dark behind your eyelids. It's not a common ritual this far south, but your mother, Astrid, who hails from the land of the Geats, insisted on it. By the way, I may mispronounce a few things, so bear with me. All the thanes of the neighboring clans have come to attend your feast in his honor. Your father may not have been the most successful thane, but as a warrior he commanded the respect of many. The guests are filing into your father's, your longhouse. The thanes enter first, each trailing a modest group of warriors. Your mother leans in to whisper a few words of advice before she takes her seat. You should greet each of the thanes before the feast begins, but listen well to their words. Few of them would benefit from making this a smooth transition. It will be important to know where they stand. Alright, there we have it, and we're now getting a few little tips up here. Characters with golden nameplates have dialogue for you. And this is our quest marker. And this is an exploration marker, meaning we don't necessarily need to do this. Alright, the controls are fairly simple. You click somewhere, you can also hold it down so you can walk. As far as the camera goes, you can use the mouse, or you can use WASD, and I think you can also use the arrow keys, yes. I don't know if there's a way to turn the camera. I forgot. Oh yeah, right click. With right click you can turn the camera. I like to keep it pretty much one directional though, so I'm not losing my way too much. If you're on a map and you turn it around too often, you'll usually use your sense of direction. Therefore I usually just keep it in one direction, but sometimes when I'm trying to like check if there's anything in certain corners or so, I usually turn it a bit just so I can see what things are there. Also, if you press Alt, the left one, it highlights everything that you can interact with. A rabbit stew bubbles over the fire pit, spreading delicious smell throughout the longhouse. Now, wouldn't we just love a bit of rabbit stew ourselves? My TV is actually about to turn off and I can't see or smell the remote. I found it. Sorry about that. We just can't afford the TV turning black on us at this point while we're recording. Now, there's a few people we can talk to. Most importantly, we have our brother over here. We have a childhood friend, another childhood friend, and another childhood friend, as well as 1, 2, 3 thanes, and then our mother once we're done with all that. So let us go and talk to our brother first, and we're gonna make our way around to really talk to all of these. I don't think there is really any importance as into what direction we take here, but I'm just gonna go with what I feel. I feel like talking with my brother would be the first thing I would be doing, so let's go. Your elder brother Rurik always had a penchant for music. He looks up and gives you a warm smile as you approach him. Gott kveld, sis. I mean, my honored thane. How do you feel? So we get a few options here, and I actually do not know what impact they have on the game, but I'm just gonna go and talk to him the way I think the character would talk. We're a bit of a warrior, a bit rough. We've probably been a bit of a tomboy growing up, while he has been a little bit of a ladies man, into songs and poetry probably. So we're gonna just take up these roles and see what we can do here. So I think the first one is probably the best one to go for right now. Rurik smiles. You can barely hear his soft voice over the din of the feast. I'm certain he is. Odin would have to be a fool not to accept a warrior like him. think the second one is probably what a tomboy sister would be saying, so we're gonna go with that. If anyone disrespects you, let me know about it. I'll make sure it doesn't happen twice. Rurik sighs slightly. There have been some snide remarks, but Mother has always been more of a Thane than our father ever was, so in a way, this changes nothing. To tell you the truth, I think our clansmen are almost relieved, as I am, that you took on the mantle. Well, I have to go and be a good host. I'll talk to you later. Your brother flashes a cheeky grin. Just use the old signal if you need help to get out of a conversation with one of the other Thanes. End dialogue. Alright, next person I want to talk to are these two people here. We're gonna go with the one that's closest first.
Busy entertaining your guests?
And some of these characters actually have voice actors. I'm still gonna read the first line here. Catil is standing off to a side, holding a horn of mead. The younger hunter appears to be watching the feast with a faintly amused expression, and he nods respectfully when you come near. Not too busy to check in on you. Catil shifts his weight restlessly. I've had an uneasy feeling all night. Have you seen Skuld's housecarls over there in the corner? Hrolgard and Skaki? I've heard stories about them. Nefjar seems to be expecting trouble too, so I've decided to go easy on the mead and keep an eye out. Yep, I appreciate that. It never hurts to be careful. He throws his head back slightly toward Aslife. Speaking of which, keep an eye on the big lug back there. He and his friends have been putting their heads together all night. I think he might be planning something. I'll keep an eye on him. Leave the watch to me. This is your feast. You should relax and enjoy yourself. I'll alert you if something happens. And I'm spoiling you with lots of reading right now, but we're definitely not going to continue that along the line of the game. So since he's mentioned that Nefja also has some things that she's worried about, we're going to talk to her next.
There you are. The feast seems to be off to a good start.
Nefja is one of your oldest friends. Your families have always been close, and you grew up together in the village. She's just finished pouring your mother a mug of mead. It's nice to see you out of your armor for once. Nefja snorts sarcastically. You've seen my sister in this dress before? Surely that's the same thing. She closes her eyes and rubs the bridge of her nose with a finger. Gods, she was so excited to see me like this. I'll never hear the end of it. Well, where is she? A sardonic undertone creeps into Nefjar's voice. My poor sister has a fever again. She has such a frail constitution. All this wet cold is hard on her. Mother stayed home to care for her. What do you think about our guests? She chuckles. Your fellow Thanes are certainly a proud and graceful bunch, even as they plot to murder you and take our land. You think that poorly of them? Oh, I'm sure not all of them are actively planning to kill us. I have a weird feeling about Skull though. I doubt they call him Skullscleaver for nothing. Halfdan plays the lovable old grump, but I know he's had his eyes on our harbor for years. Runghilde, I'm not so sure about. She probably has nothing to gain from destroying us, but she's little more than Sigurd Hunger's appendage, and who knows where he stands. Well, let's talk later. I have to be a good host. Good luck to you, and watch your back. Right, before we go and talk to Aslife, I want to talk to Runghilde the White. She's pretty much the honored guest, so I feel like that would be the normal course of action. And it's on the way back, so we really don't want to just walk past her. Ragnhild the White is the most influential of your guests. As the vassal of King Sigurd Hunger, she is the current ruler of Denmark. By the way, if you know how to pronounce these names, let me know. She has come from the trade hub of Ribe to the south. where she presides as Jarl. She nods politely as you approach her seat. It was a beautiful ceremony, Isolde. I extend my condolences for your loss on the behalf of Reibe and of the king. I must tell you, I advised him not to seek out the isles across the sea. We've all heard the stories of the unprotected coasts and their treasures, but there's more danger than the rumors let on. I'm not surprised they claimed his life, but I'm glad at least he died with a sword in his hand. Okay, got a few options here. Did you know Fenris well? Thank you for accepting the invitation. We're honored that you could make it. I was hoping the king himself would attend. I feel like it's important to pay attention to these little icons here. X's always means it ends the conversation. These bubbles, inquire options, are not mutually exclusive with other options. The conversation will return here afterwards. This means we can ask this without losing these options. However, if we have two of these general options, we will progress the conversation. That means we can choose between this one and that one. But first I want to ask about Fenris. I knew him as a warrior. We fought together on the Bravelier, and he struck me as a shrewd tactician. When your king needs you, I hope that you will serve him as well as your father did. This is one of those moments where I'm not so sure about if I want to really ally myself with, the king and promise that I will serve, because I feel like we are a very honorable character. We definitely want to keep our promises. So we're probably going to not pick any of the options other than the second, because the first one ties us to a promise, the last one is a provocation, the third one isn't very honorable, so we're just going to go with an honorable approach here. My father taught me everything he knew about combat. Jarl Ragnhild smiles conspiratorially. That is another mark in the man's favor. I never saw a reason why women shouldn't be taught to fight just like any man. A village where the women folk know how to hold a sword is a village with twice as many warriors after all. And at this point we can thank you for accepting the invitation. We are honored that you could make it. And our reputation with Ripe was now increased by 1. Of course, your father's sword will be missed in our struggles against the Franks. We have not promised that we would fight with the king, therefore we can now excuse ourselves and make the rounds. The old shield maiden smiles. She gracefully slides back down into her seat, whereupon she spares a large piece of chicken with her knife and dumps it on her plate. Okay, now let us talk to Asleif. Asleif is a distant cousin. Leadership of the clan has moved between your side of the family and his for generations. He's known as a skilled warrior and a hard worker. Asleif sits with his 2 closest friends.
Our condolences on the passing of your father. At least he died the way he would have wanted. We will be feasting with the gods tonight.
And I wished that was my voice, so you could listen to this voice the entire playthrough, but you're sadly stuck with this. Sorry, excuse for a narrator. He looks up when you approach his end of the table. Neither of his friends acknowledge your presence. His tone is respectful, but slightly cold. With 2 options here, both of them progress the conversation, and I do feel like I want to go and take a slightly down-to-earth, realistic, and not so much provoking, but honest approach. There's no need for pretense. You never respected my father. I will not ask that you begin now. Asleif seems to consider this for a while before replying. It's no secret I didn't agree with how Fenris ruled our clan. Bearing this in mind, I don't see what gives you the right to succeed him. But this feast is in his honor, and I will not insult his memory here, nor will I challenge your claim to leadership. you believe you would be more suited to lead us. We could ask this. We could also just, end this conversation here. But I do feel like we should be asking this. He has just basically said he would be more suited as a leader. Half-Life leans forward and looks you directly in the eyes. I do. Because I'm a woman? Because my father failed you? You're wrong. I hope I will have the chance to prove it. If you challenge my birthright, you will pay with your life. Now, the first two are options we can explore without really furthering the conversation. So we're just gonna go with a second here, because my father failed you. It is not our way to let rulership simply pass from father to daughter. If we are to become a strong clan again, we must appoint the best warrior as Fae. You are not the strongest of us, merely the less weak of your father's children. If you believe the gods favor you in this, I hope you will get the chance to prove it. But I will not simply wait for you to falter and bring the whole clan to ruin. If you challenge my birthright, you will pay with your life. You are wrong. I hope you will give me the chance to prove it. I feel like the second one is just a bit too threatening. We want to keep him on our side, so let's just tell him he's wrong and we're definitely cut out and we will prove it. Half-Life simply nods once, then he returns his attention to his companions. And that's that taken care of. Now we have two more people to talk to. Halfdan Salmunderson and School Skullcleaver. Let's go with this one first, because he's closer. Halfdan is the Thane of a slightly larger clan that borders your lands to the east. He wears a solemn expression and nods heavily when you approach him. Fenris is in Valhalla now, Isolda. There's no doubt about it. He died doing what he loved. But while he feasts among the heroes, you're left back here to sort out the pieces. You've got your work cut out for you. You speak ill of my father on his own funeral feast. Nay, your father excelled us at what he loved, fighting. He cared not one bit for this village, and I'm sure he wouldn't have taken offense for me pointing that out. His disregard made him many enemies among his clansmen. Surely you've noticed, expecting your claim to leadership to go uncontested? Oh, I read that completely wrong. Let's do that again. Surely you're not expecting your claim to leadership to go uncontested? I am the rightful Thane. If anyone thinks otherwise, we'll sort it out the traditional way. Or, no one in this clan is more suited to lead than I am. I'll win them over. I know many disagree with my appointment. It'll be a difficult transition. I actually really don't know. I think I'm gonna show strength here. Good. Worse problems than this have been solved at the tip of a spear or the edge of a blade. May the gods favor you, if it comes to that. Halfdan empties his mug of mead in a single gulp, then slams the mug onto the table and calls for Thrall for a refill. End dialogue. Now, I'm definitely not going to try to give each and every character a unique accent, and I'm not even sure if that accent was really good or not, or if you'll like it. I just felt like it. I started reading and I felt like that's the kind of voice he would almost be having. So let's just see about this one now. School Skullcleaver is the Thane of Yelling, which borders your area. Yelling is a large territory, and School is one of the most powerful Thanes in Jutland. Yelling has prospered under his rule. School pushes himself away from the table, with his foot the chair making a grinding sound across the wooden floor. His face shows earnest sympathy. Now I think this is the kind of character who would have a very deep, raspy, smoky kind of voice. But I'm not so sure if I can pull that off. But just for kicks, just for fun, I'm gonna try it right here.
Isolde, my girl. So sorry about your father. If there's anything for the people of Yelling that they can do to aid you in these trying times, don't hesitate to ask.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that again. Thank you, but we'll be fine.
Yes, of course. I'm sure the clan is in good hands. Still, it can't be easy. Your father was a great warrior, but as a Thane, one should not speak ill of the dead.
Skull leans toward you, resting his elbow on the table.
Tell me, what are your plans for this place? How will you lead your clan?
That is my business, Skull. It is too soon for that kind of planning. I'll start by expanding our defenses.
You really are Fenris's daughter, aren't you? Just take care not to lose touch of your people's needs in your eagerness to defend them.
He lets out a deep sigh and leans back into his seat.
I'm sure you know I fought with your father many years ago. We were very much of a similar inclination, he and I. That man had a real taste for battle, not like his brothers. Mark my words, Isolde. True bonds are forged in battle, not bound in blood. He came to me for advice before he mounted his last journey. On account of my ties to Kapang, I should have warned him better about what he was getting himself into.
What does Kapang have to do with it?
Vikings out of Kapang have been to the isles across the sea. I've heard many stories about it, since I often go there to trade. Your father wanted to hear the stories were true. But I've taken too much of your time already. I know you have other guests to entertain. Perhaps we'll talk later, after a bit more meat.
Skull nods to himself, then to you, and turns his attention to the food on the table. And yeah, that is the last time I'm doing that. I don't even know if that sounded good. I'm really curious if that even sounded good. That was the first time me trying to do like a raspy old man's voice who probably had his windpipe crushed in a battle or something like that. That's all the dialogue we can do, and I think it's all the things we can interact with as well. We can't go outside. I think we can't go outside. Let's see. Can we go outside? No. You shouldn't leave just yet. Okay. So that's everything we can be doing. So we'll simply advance. Following the initial meet and greet, everyone toasts to your father and digs into the meal. Food covers every inch of the table, and the freshly brewed mead seems to flow endlessly. You're listening to Nefja's usual complaints about her mother when Ketil perks up and slips discreetly out of a longhouse. Outside, some piece of pottery crashes against the ground, and men begin to shout. In short order, the door flies open and the doorway is filled by Otter Erlingsson, sword in hand. Outside, you see his brother standing over the prone form of Ketil. Ottar looks around the room with disgust. What a splendid feast you have for such a chit Thane. Ottar's gaze stops on you. He raises his sword to point at you accusingly. Isolde, your family has had its chance to earn our respect, and you wasted it. Come outside and defend your honor, or I will burn this hall to the ground. Nefja jumps up to her feet, already holding her knife. Her voice seethes with disgust. Ottar, you miserable drunkard! How dare you attack your Thane's honor during her own feast? Your family will pay for this. Ottar has turned his back on you and is already walking back outside. All the other guests turn their gaze to you in anticipation. Your mother leans in to whisper into your ear. You have to handle this. If the other Thanes think we are too weak to deal with such a blow against our family's honor. This will not stand. Nefja, are you with me? A shadow sets across Nefja's face. By the gods, he's going to make us kill him this time, isn't he? And now we can talk to Nefja.
I hope Ketil is alright.
And then we can pick up our items right over here. I wonder if we're gonna get a Dane axe. I hope so. Oh, yeah, we do. So we're gonna just take all. Close that. And we're gonna look at our equipment real fast here. So, equipment there. And we're gonna simply go and equip these. And we're also gonna equip the meat there. Oh, and we can't equip the shield. Okay, yeah, that is true. We can have a bow and the axe. And we're gonna close this, close that. Now we're pretty much ready, so we're gonna save the game here. And as you can see, I have quite a few saves already. So let's create a new save here called Isolda. Create new. And we're also gonna go and delete all the others. Yes. 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 And yes. Boom. We're done with that, and we're going to continue and open this door and have this fight in the next episode. For now, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow when we're going to tackle this first fight of the game. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.